searching, and I realize it's not complicated at all, and I realize many humans are ready for it.
You said this happened, this peacefulness, awareness, happened to you spontaneously. And I wonder, why did it happen to you? And exactly how did that happen?
The first one, I don't know if I'll be able to. The first part of it, I don't know if I'll be able to answer it. It just happened. Well, I can say that it happened because the egoic sense of self got eroded, and what happened was a disidentification from thinking. This is what happened, but I didn't know that's what happened. It first happened. It just happened. I couldn't have explained it. The last thought that was identified with was I can't live with myself any longer. And then I looked at the thought, and there was myself. Who am I? I didn't know that at the time when this thought came. Who am I if I can't live with myself any longer? Who is the self and who am I? I didn't know at the time that I had voiced an ancient question that has been used in meditation for hundreds of thousands of years. The question, who am I? And spiritual teachers in India have used that question to take people into realization since ancient times. And the question arose spontaneously in my mind, who am I? Because it seems strange, I no longer know if the sentence I cannot live with myself any longer seemed so strange, because there seemed to be two people there, the I and the self. And that was so strange that I was wondering, who am I if I can't live with myself? And that simple question, who am I, led to a realization of the essence of I, of what I means. And the I realized, is not my thoughts. So I disidentified from the unhappy self that was telling itself unhappy stories all the time. And so the sense of I was no longer lodged in thought. It removed itself from thought because it just couldn't stand it anymore. Simple as that. That's why it happened. It couldn't stand it anymore. It removed itself. It was too painful, and all was left was that the sense of I-ness, of beingness, of presence, which is inherently peaceful, which has no problems in it, is timeless, and that is the true source of everybody's identity, the true source of the beingness, the fullness. And then the self that consisted of thinking, identification with thinking, couldn't survive the sense of self that was no longer invested within identification. So the unhappy me, as I called it later, dissolved. What was left was just the I presence. It seemed so simple. were not supposed to talk about it, so nobody knows exactly what they did. But it was some kind of deepening of the human being. There were things going back to ancient times, to Egypt and to India. So we could have this modern mysteries where people step out of identification with the egoic self and simply realize the I-ness. Perhaps this has become the teaching. So the understanding of what happened to me gradually became the teaching, and I realized it's not complicated at all. And I realized many humans are ready for it. It was a surprise when I realized that. I first realized it when the power of now came out, and without any advertising or anything, more and more people started to read it. In the first few months, at first when the book was finished, I thought a few people may respond to it, and that's fine. If nobody wants to buy it, that's fine too. I said I would go and sell tomatoes to make a living. Why I said that, I don't know, it just came. So and then I realized far more people are ready. They actually went into the book and understood it, or realized the truth of it, because they were ready. It was new, totally new. They were ready to hear it. Yes, there's always a recognition when you read it and listen to the true spiritual teaching. Something in you already knew it. It's not totally new. And that is the power of the spiritual teaching, is the presence that's already there, recognizes the truth when it sees it, and then you feel it, respond. Yes, it's always a recognition. It's never somebody telling you something new. You can read other books, you get lots of new facts that you had never heard of, and say, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it may be interesting, but it won't transform you. Only things that you recognize as true actually then bring out that level in you, that dimension in you. That's the power of a spiritual book. And I didn't realize how many humans actually were ready for that. It's only when they start writing to me, at that time people were still writing letters, writing to me and saying, I bought 5 copies for friends or relatives, and then somebody else said I bought 3 copies, and there was people. So wow, it's amazing that so many people seem to be ready for it. So that's good. It's happening. It's a relatively simple process, and
Theoretically.
yes, there is still, of course, the old consciousness still has its gravitational pull upon people. But everyone who is here, or wherever you are, listening to this, seeing this, is part of the transformation and contributes to the awakening. So it is a very significant thing that as you awaken, and most people who join us here, or here in this room or at home, are already undergoing the awakening process. In a few people it comes very suddenly, but that's rare. In most, it's a gradual awakening, and then it's not a course, it doesn't go like that. It goes more in a spiral. You go, this presence arises, and then you fall back. And then again so it gradually goes, it goes slowly with setbacks.
It happened like a for you.
Well, for some reason it happens for a few people, like